And the last thing, because I know it's getting late and we're probably going to have to stop the stream soon. So now the question is, Adam, could you potentially explain cooking's rare or cooking affinity in the next 30 minutes or so?
I mean, I feel like it's going to have to be something that we spend more time in detail next time, but I can give in a nutshell version of it. Like everybody who plays Wurm will know that if you eat some food, it'll say you have gained insight into something or another. That gives you a short buff. Actually, the length of that buff depends on the food itself, so it could actually be really long. And that buff is like a 10% skill gain bonus. It basically grants you an affinity, temporary affinity for that skill, which is 10% skill gain bonus. Now, the tricky thing about it is that if I eat a piece of food, it'll give me one skill. But if Brian over here eats the exact same food, it'll give him a completely different skill. Okay, so everybody's kind of unique in that sense. Now, people have figured out precisely how the whole system works, and it goes far beyond what I understand. But what I know is that it seems like specific ingredients added to food, along with what container it was made in, along with what furnace was used to create it, give the food a specific value. And that value will determine what skill it gives you. And that in order to sort of like there's people out there who make these affinity foods. Like I'll request from somebody, can you please make me a food that will give me weaponsmith affinity, for example. Now the way that they do that is they use this tool that somebody's created. Let me see if I can put the link to that tool.
And while Adam's looking at that, I will answer your question. Dresden, you just started the game. You just finished the tutorial. What do you do? Wow, that's a crazy question. And you can see, Dresden, that the initial response or reaction that a lot of players have is, I need to find a piece of land. That's like number one. They get out of the tutorial, now I'm looking for a piece of land. And you're going to find that a lot of players, like you, are going to try to walk for a little bit, and there's deeds all around these starting areas. Because there's not that many starting areas. There's one on, I'm assuming you're starting on the new server, but every server has at least one. The bigger servers have like 2, and the largest server has a whole bunch of starting servers. And people tend to deed close to there, and they walk along the shore, and you can walk, like, the worlds are large. So if you're walking, you're going to walk slow, and you're not going to go that fast, and it's going to take you hours, and you're just going to keep seeing people. But the fact of the matter is that your first response should probably not be trying to find a piece of land right now. And instead, you should be looking at 2 probably different things that you want to do. You want to look at a few harvesting skills that you like. Oh, thanks for the follow, Papatar.
Yeah, thanks for the follow. Chop some trees, mine some.
Chopping trees, mining some rocks, and the best place to do this stuff and dig. The best place to do this is near a starter town. There's a public mine that you can use. There's trees around, although a lot of the trees have gone away, but you should be looking at chopping down the trees that are near the starting towns, and building some tools. Not really worrying about the items that you're making. You don't have to worry about whether taking the logs that you chop or taking the ores or stone shards that you're dropping in a mine. But it's more, you're trying to get your skills up. Mm-hmm. And within the mine, there should be forges. You can make yourself some simple tools.
Yep. I would recommend making yourself
in the starting
mallet. Like, start with making a mallet, and then the mallet will allow you to create a small anvil and or a large anvil. Actually, I think it's you make a small anvil, and then that allows you to make a large anvil, and then you can start making tools with those anvils, I'd recommend a sickle, a chisel. These are tools that you don't start with naturally. And you can experiment with how to improve items, get them higher quality. Yeah, just play around with the mechanics of the game, get a sense for it. But the ultimate thing about this game is it's about creating your own idea of what you want to do. It's very open-ended. Create your own goals.
Yeah, I hope that answers your question a little bit. Eventually, you want to go around. I don't even recommend if you're wanting to be a hermit and you're wanting to get your own place. That's possible, but I'd almost recommend before that you look up on the forums, or at least there might be people saying it in the game, of wanting villagers, so you can join a village, somebody else's village, and that'll give you the ability to see to sort of be around other players, and they can teach you how to play, they can help you out, you'll be part of something before going off on your own and trying to find your own village. And hopefully by that time, if you're really enjoying the game and you really want to know what to do next, you would actually have that ability to know what to look for in a deed, and you won't run into what a lot of players run into, which is sitting there and wondering why you can't find a place. You'll understand that you'll know more about where to look to find a deed, why you're wanting to find certain areas. Like, players instinctively try to go to the water and to find land, and it's not necessarily the best place that you should be.
It does offer some niceties,
and going next to a mountain and stuff, or within a forest, offers different niceties that you won't get by the water. And so,
the water's
not the best thing to just go off and deed right away.
Yeah, water's good for drinking, so like if you're not near water, it's hard to get water as a new player. But yeah, it's this game has a lot to learn. You're not going to learn it all even in the first year of your playing. Like, you're going to, every day of playing for the first year, you're going to say, oh wow, I learned something new. Like, and it's just going to keep opening up, and the game just gets better and better as you progress. So if you stick with it, it definitely pays off.
Yeah, and hopefully everyone's giving you some advice as well.
Where
but
we
were talking about food.
Yes.
You just linked wurmfood.com.
Wurmfood.com.
So I'm going to bring it up for everybody to see.
Okay, and again, I don't want to go into too much detail here, but I'll tell you the basic idea, and you guys can figure it out. There's also on the forums a whole section on wurmfood.com that tells you like how to use it and stuff. But the basic idea is that it'll ask you to create a specific type of food, like it might be just a bear meat or something like that, or whatever it is, and you taste it and see what affinity it gives you. And then you have to type into this Wurm Food website what affinity it gave you. And that will allow that program to know exactly what types of food will give you whatever affinity that you want. So this is like your test run or whatever. And you might say, okay, well, that bear food gave me hammer affinity. Then it'll ask you, well, what kind of food do you want to make? Now, I haven't used this in a long time. I feel like there's been updates
and
to it.
I've never used it, so
yeah. Like, there's some things to know that, like, the rarity of the container you use matters. The rarity of the forge or oven that you use matters.
Let's do this. So let's do a live presentation. Okay. Adam's going to teach me what to do. I've got...
Honestly... Okay, so step one, what is your cooker? Like, the setup box is, there's two boxes. There's the setup box, and then there's the
Do I
maker.
need the setup box?
Okay. The setup box is to figure out what, like, affinity. This is like the test.
Yeah, so I have an oven. It's just normal.
Okay, so yeah, say I have an oven. That's normal.
We're gonna cook it in a pottery bowl.
Okay, sure. Cook it in a pottery
and we've
bowl.
got, let's say, I don't know, lamb meat. We got a lot of that.
Okay.
And you're gonna what? You're going to fry it? No, in a pottery bowl, what do you have? It's minced, I believe you were doing.
Okay. Is it minced though? Let's see. I don't have mince. So let's just take one that we have already. Let's make it lamb. Let's make it fillet of lamb.
Fillet.
Okay. I'll put
I
that in
don't
the
see
oven.
fillet.
Okay.
Whole, fried, roasted, diced, minced, chopped, ground, steamed.
Oh yeah. Okay, so let's dice it. Let's dice it.
Fillet is just normal, so it's just whole.
Okay,
like the
fillet is
zero?
normal. We'll make it dice. Let's dice it. And you'll see, like, next to each one, like, it'll say plus 27 or plus 77 or plus whatever.
Yeah.
So there's like a number associated with every outcome. And each one of these things will add to that number.
I see.
And it gets to a certain point where it gets to the top number and then it'll loop back around to the bottom number again.
Okay. So you're doing. So at this point, like we got this setting. So we have an oven, we have a pottery bowl, we have lamb, and we've diced it. And at this point, you can add a second item, but we're not going to do that. And then this says, now you have to eat it and tell me what affinity you got while eating it. Is that right?
Yes. So it says affinity you got when
I don't know
tasting
yet.
the meal. Okay, so
I don't know that yet.
Let's cook this.
So
let's cook this. Let's
yeah,
see what
let's do
happens.
that.
So I gotta.
So Adam's going to cook it for me. I'll eat it, find out what it is.
Do we run out of kindling? That's...
It's on the other side, I think.
Okay,
This one?
I looked in there and I'm just gonna make one.
Okay. There's 4 willow kindlings.
Oh, okay. I'm looking in the wrong one. All right. Oh, I was looking in the right one. I just am blind.
You missed it. Okay.
That's okay.
Oh, did I miss
already-
a question there, Zek9?
Probably missing questions here.
What are some
As we're
common
looking.
ways for a new player to make silver right off the start?
That's a good question. Common
So
ways.
I did mention that. Didn't I say that I worked as a cook years ago? Well, if you watch some of our old videos, I did not do a cook in the
No.
game.
We did a cooking video, but this was during the old, before the cooking update.
Yeah.
And we've always wanted to do a cooking video after the update. We just never got around to learning it, is the problem.
So Adam's going to do that, and let's answer
Okay.
Zek9. So the best ways that you can do this, and I think we actually mentioned it before, but we'll mention it quickly again in this video, is there were a number of different ways. And this is if the King's Coffers actually has money in it. It's I'm not sure if it does yet. I heard that it does a little bit now, but I'm not sure. So after deeds have been made and upkeep is sort of going every single month into nothingness or into the King's Coffers, that some of that money gets transferred back to the players, and players can get that. It needs a month to start. I guess it hasn't been a month yet, but this is what you would do. You would... That was odd. You need to... step 1, the best thing to do is to take an item. Ooh, there's a little full. Doesn't matter what it is, just junk. You would go to any token, I would say.
Oh, it looks like we need to put another ingredient. Although I could be wrong. It could be nothing, I suppose.
And you would sell an item to your token. So right now there appears to be no coins in the coffers, but this would give you some money. Not a lot, but it's one way that you can make money. Any junk that you've gotten, you can put it by your token and you can sell it to the token to make some money. Other ways that people are probably mentioning, praying will give you coins. That's true. What are the other ways that we already mentioned today?
Now, I wonder if the question was about what can you do to make money by trading to other people?
Okay, so that is one way. You would be trading to people to make money, and the way that you would do that,
Like, what are some things that
especially
people
on
are
the
willing to
server that you're
buy?
on.
Yeah, here on
Right
Harmony,
now, it's
right?
bulk goods.
It's
I would
bulk
say.
goods, but there's also certain things like if you're willing to spend time grinding your skill so that you can make about 50 quality is probably where people are making good money now. Things that are selling like crazy are tool belts,
Rare items,
weapons,
horses,
rare
weapons.
items, horses. Yeah, horses are big. If you get into breeding, I mean, blacksmithing tools.
But without
obviously.
doing that, people want bulk items. People want
Bulk
dirt.
items.
Don't one thing
Dirt.
that players
Dirt
that new
is the big
players
one.
forget or don't know yet is that when you're digging your land, don't waste that dirt.
Yeah.
Put that dirt. Dirt is
in a-
life.
Dirt is
right. Put
like
that dirt into a bulk storage bin and keep it until
cotton. Yeah.
Cotton people would want. Yeah.
Cotton
Furs,
is selling.
sheets,
I don't know if you know
I'm
this,
sure
Brian,
people are gonna do that.
but cotton is selling for like 1 silver for 100 cotton.
Really?
That's the price right now because people need it for
And Lonnie,
boats.
you found many coins with forging? For sure. Forging.
Okay, so
and
back to
botanizing.
this food making. I decided to put cucumber because this thing. So it's the diced lamb, and in the second row I put a cucumber.
Okay, so back to that chart. I would
Mhm.
need to add a cucumber.
And I
Like,
just made
has
it whole.
There it is. Cucumber. You made it. You put it in whole.
Yeah.
Okay.
This
so
is in a
so
pottery
far so
bowl
good.
in an oven. Okay, so once this meal
take a look.
finishes, which is very close, it's very close. It's gonna pop
Yep.
into a breakfast very shortly.
There it is. Cucumber and diced meat. There's a
There it is.
breakfast, and I'm gonna taste it.
Taste.
So there's a taste option.
Okay. What
You
did it
think
give
the
you?
breakfast might give you more of an insight about shovel.
Shovel. Okay. And me,
There
I
you
got
go.
shield smithing.
And Adam got
So-
shield smithing. So
So you're gonna put shovel into that thing.
I'm gonna put shovels here.
Okay. Now, let's see.
Now you're able to proceed to making a meal in the next area.
Yeah.
Thank you
so
very
once-
much, website.
Once you've filled in all that, then you open up the meal maker section.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm ready. I'm ready for your
And-
insight.
You see on the right side, it says affinity you want to get. You pick the one that you want. Let's say,
Okay, do I need to fill out the meal box? The first 3 items? So oven
yes. You
Normal.
will need to. Yes. Oven.
and let's say pottery bowl, for example. Again,
Okay. Yep.
we can change that. But you're okay. So at that point, now what are we doing? So
Okay, so on the-
affinity you want.
On the right,
I
yeah,
see.
the affinity you want. Right. You pick the affinity you want.
So let's say I wanted masonry, for example.
Okay. I'm gonna copy you so I know what
Common
you're
one. So I want masonry.
seeing. Okay. And you see how it says difference minus 71 or plus 67? Do you get that same numbers
Difference
there?
minus 71 or 67. Yes.
Okay. So what that means is you want to make a meal that increases the numbers or decreases the numbers by that amount.
Exactly that amount?
Exactly that amount.
Okay.
so
tell me how
oven-
would I do that?
You see how the oven was 40, the pottery bowl
Yeah.
was 77. Okay, so let's say we're gonna take let's see what food we
So
got
does
here.
this website, will that do the math for me?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so let's take
So
let's
where
do
is it
beef.
showing me that?
We have lots of beef. So put beef,
So beef, yeah,
and let's dice it.
dice it.
So I'm gonna take a beef. Let's see if we can get this affinity to work. I'm gonna dice beef.
So that changed the difference, 34 or 172.
Yeah,
You're currently
at cooking.
you're currently at cooking.
Okay. And let's see, we need to go up by 34. So let's see if there's something here that'll go up by 34. No, there's nothing that's exactly 34 that we have.
Yeah, nothing exactly 34, but there. How about 172?
Okay, so let's take a. I know we have a cabbage. Let's take cabbage.
Have a
Let's see.
cabbage, which is 42, and you want to do whole or
And let's dice that up. Let's
dicing the cabbage.
or
So now
chop.
we're at butchering.
Cabbage
So minus 24 or 114
and chop, not diced, chopped.
chopped. So minus 24 or 114.
Okay. Let's see. I know that we have some herbs as well.
At some point,
see.
we're gonna reach.
Is there a 114 here? Oh, there's like so close. Okay, so what if I did basil and I chop that up again? So that's 16. Oh, I need 3.
Oh.
Is there something that's like 3? Huh.
I see. No.
No. Okay. What else is there? Besides chop.
Or 141.
Let's take away the. Well, let's take away.
Get
Let's
rid of
put in
the-
basil. Let's put in basil, but let's keep it whole.
Okay.
And now we need 19. Is there another herb that's 19?
Feline meat or.
Okay, we have
there's a
feline.
fish one.
We have feline.
There's
And okay, so let's try that. So I chopped cabbage. I minced. Oh wait, I minced the beef. Okay, let's.
You mince the
Let's-
meat.
No, I'll
Bad.
just take. I messed up, so I'm gonna take another beef and I'm going to just dice it.
All right, now it's saying, so if beef was diced and cabbage was chopped and basil was put in as whole and a feline piece of meat was put in as a whole, I would get masonry. Is that right?
Feline meat was made. Well, it looks like it should. Okay, so let's do
And
that.
for you, what would you get if that?
I don't know. I was just following what you were doing, so
I
I
see.
have the same thing as you. Okay, so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make them. Let's see. And if I do lore on the bowl, it should tell me the ingredients in the pottery bowl would make a breakfast when cooked.
Okay, so far so good.
Okay, so now there's just one more thing I want to mention about this website is that I know there's another website out there that does it slightly differently. See, this one's more freeform. It'll allow you to make whatever kind of meal that you want to make. But there's another website that will do it for specific meal types. Like it'll have like a whole setting for pizzas, and you'll just you basically do the same kind of thing where you do the test affinity, and then you say I want to make a pizza, and I'm using an oven with this type of
Validate.
stuff. You fill that in, and it will tell you what ingredients to put in for the particular skill that you want.
Yeah.
Now I don't know where that.
Anybody know the
link for
second
that.
website?
I don't have the link for that, but I know it exists. I've used it before. Now, if you use that other one, though, the problem with it is that...
The other site, Wurm.
Okay, good.
That
The other
AzureWebsites.net. Is that it?
Okay.
That you were thinking?
Yeah, you need marble for pizza. Yeah. The problem with the other site is that it will definitely require you to have lots of variety of ingredients. So it'll say you need chopped sassafras, and like it'll have very specific things that you need to go get. So unless you have a good stock, it'll be harder to use that website. This one's a little bit more freeform.
This one's the more freeform. You can choose the items that you actually have.
You could choose the
to
items
try
that you
to
actually
get
have,
the results that you want. But
it takes a lot of fiddling with the numbers.
I see. So this one's like, I want to make a pizza with this. How would it know?
The other...
Oh, I see. So here, meal made using plain oven, bare meat, corn, gave you this affinity. I see. So you have to...
Yes.
You have to be exactly this. You have to have bare meat and corn in order to figure out the rest.
Yes.
I see.
Right. This website requires you to have very specific things. So if you use it, it's easier if you have the specific things to use this second website here. But yeah, you need specific things. Okay, so the breakfast is there. Why don't you test it out to see if we did this correctly?
All right. Did we do this correctly? Which one is the breakfast that you made?
The second one, like the 14 quality one.
Here. Okay, so I'm going to taste it just to see. So you think this breakfast might give you more of an insight about masonry. There you go.
Woohoo! Whoops.
We did it.
We did it.
Yes.
That would have sucked if we didn't do it.
We'd be sitting there like questioning our sanity at this point. But yeah, so there's the website, wurmfood.com. That's the tool that you need to determine affinity. And eventually, so this is what happens. So even at 14 quality, I don't even need that much food. But if I eat this, I get a buff. Here's the buff. And as I'm eating, the buff goes up. But at this level, you can see that this masonry buff will only last 1 minute and 48 seconds.
Right. So it's not only the level of the food, but it's also the amount of preparation that went into the food. So like chopping the food and making subcomponents that then go in, all of that will increase the length of the affinity timer. So making breakfast is probably not the best thing. But yeah.
Yeah, you'd want to play around with that. And this is why it can get pretty complicated. It's not so clear cut as I've got masonry food, right? Because the food is made to a particular person. And that's where things get a little confusing. I've been to an Impalong where there was a full categorization of food. They made every single type of food, and they gave each food a number, and they said, depending on, they had a system where you could deduce which number that you needed to eat in order to gain the affinity that you wanted.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. But yeah, it's kind of complicated, but once you know it, it's just another thing in Wurm that if you learn all of these systems and you learn cooking, you get used to it, and you really enjoy that type of work, then you would have a leg up on anybody else that doesn't know cooking, because not everybody does. And you would be one of those people that does. And that's why every single profession in Wurm is sort of like that. It's a little different tools, different process. Cooking is probably an extreme example because it had the Titch. She basically went in and revamped the system more recently than a lot of the other professions. So it has a crazy amount of learning that you can do, and experimenting and recipes, and it's just such a full-fledged system.
It's an insane amount of learning to do. Totally.
Yeah.
I'm going to do one last link just before we continue.
All right.
I'm going to give one last link, and this one you can spend days in this link. It is not, I don't know if it's the one, there might be a better one out there, but it's a pretty comprehensive one of a lot of the recipes of a lot of the things in this game. This is like a spoiler, so if you are the type of person who likes to discover stuff for yourself, don't go to this link. But if you
All right.
want
so I'll
to
show
learn
this
about the
link.
cooking, you go to this link, and it's essentially a spreadsheet of many
There
of
you
the
go.
recipes.
Look at that.
Yeah. And you can pick one. Like here's buttermeat curry. It'll tell you you need an oven and a pottery bowl. And in that oven and pottery bowl, you need to put in diced meat, lemon juice, ground paprika, ground turmeric, salt, chopped tomato, cooking oil, ground ginger, whipped cream, butter, and rice. And if they're all in there, it comes out as buttermeat curry.
Wow.
And that might be a good one if you have cows, so you can get milk for the cream and butter. You have a rice field. Like you'd need like these specific things, you know? But that one would probably
Yeah.
give you a long affinity timer.
So Amethyst, what is a good food for new hot food cooking
For the CCP.
skiller? So
Oh, for skillet.
Adam was just doing that. So he'd be able to answer that more quickly. It's actually a lot easier to get into hot food cooking these days.
Yeah. Totally.
And there's completely a reason why.
Yeah,
And it's because every single meat. Here's the magic that he was doing to get his hot food cooking up.
Yeah, this is what I was doing. So I would take a bunch of meat and I would dice it and mince it just for the butchering skill. Then I put them all into frying pans. And when that finishes, it creates like fried meat.
And each one of those
gives you a skill tick. And then I
hot food
transfer
cooking.
for hot food cooking. Yeah. And then you transfer those over to a pottery bowl, which then makes breakfast. So you get another tick.
Every single meat you would get 2 skill ticks.
2 skills for one piece of meat and butchering
You
skill.
would end up with a breakfast, which is great for eating,
Just feeding,
to get
eating.
your food up.
Yeah.
Get Wild, thanks for the follow.
And you know how people are in
That's
Wurm. Like
awesome.
they'll
You're-
set up like 100 frying pans and 100 pottery bowls in 2 separate ovens, and they'll just be like, you know.
New players might not know. Like
No,
some of
yeah,
these
maybe not.
some of these players have crazy setup. They make so many different containers. They put into ovens, put into forges. This is not really a tutorial on how to get your food cooking up, but
Yeah, I know.
but that's another day. It's kind of crazy, and you can get your hot food cooking up. It takes some time, but to set up your setup. But once you have it all ready, you can pretty much get your hot food cooking up pretty quickly. And so maybe that's a topic for another day.
It
I know
definitely
Adam's
is a
working
topic
on
for another
it
day.
a little bit. So